it's Shelby here. Welcome back to A Little Literally Love. I'm Shelby. So today's video is going to be my June, I'm gonna say hopefuls. It's basically my TBR video, but I'm such a mood reader and my eyes are always bigger than my brain, I guess. Kind of like, I'm trying to use that analogy that people use with like eating. When you think that you'll be able to eat more than you actually can with like reading books, because there's always so many books that I'm going to read and I think I'll be able to read more than what I actually can, or I make a TBR and that's like for what the mood I'm in and then my mood completely changes. So I may not get to like any of the books in here. We'll just see how it goes, but these are the books that I'm like in the mood for trying to read, that I'm wanting to try to get to in June. And if I sound different for this video, I am trying my best to get over a cold. I've had it for like the past week and I'm over it, but I'm feeling a little bit better today. So I wanted to try to get this video filmed so I can post it for you all. But yeah, so we're just gonna get right into it real quick. This should hopefully be a pretty quick video. First and foremost, the first book that I need to read, if I don't read it and finish it in May, is gonna be Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I've already started it. I'm like just over halfway through. If I can, because today is Memorial Day, which is the 30th, 29th, something like that. So I still have a few days left to read this, but I don't think I'll be able to read much of it today because I'm getting my kids back today, and then tomorrow and the next day I have to work, and then I'll have my kids again. So I don't know how much time I'll be able to read this. So if I don't finish this at the end of May, this is for sure the first book that I will hopefully finish in June. This, if you haven't heard about this, which I don't know how you wouldn't hear about this because it's been everywhere. Everybody has been talking about this book, about how great it is, and everybody's been trying to get this first edition of it because it's got the sprayed edges. So I was able to snag a copy. This is about a girl, and she goes to this war college where she is entering into this section to become a dragon rider. And her mother is like the dean, I guess, of the college, wants her to enter into this, but she has I guess kind of like a chronic illness. It doesn't actually ever say like what she has, but she is more prone to like her bones like breaking, like they're weaker. So she's at very much a disadvantage during all these trials, and it's just been like, it's been so good so far, and I've really been enjoying it, so I need to finish this. And I'm actually reading this. One of my friends and I have decided that we're gonna kind of start like a book club, like a book group, and this is the first book that we decided to pick to read together. So, and this is the book that we're gonna do for June. But yeah, so I need to finish this. Speaking of my friend, her birthday is in June, and for her birthday, Allie Hazelwood is going to be doing a book signing, and she wants me to go with her to this book signing that's like pretty close to where we live. So I said that I would, since that's what she wanted to do for her birthday. I've never read an Allie Hazelwood, so I was like, if I'm gonna go to a signing, I probably need to read something from her. So if I can, I'm gonna try to snag up probably The Love Hypothesis, because I think that's like the first book in all of her books, I guess, that everybody likes. So I think I'm gonna try to read that book so I can go to that signing with her. And then besides that, I've really been in a fantasy mood, like really big fantasy mood. Like, those are the books that are gravitating towards me. Those are the books that have been very satisfying for me. Like, they're just hitting a very good note right now. So I just want to keep riding the train. So I want to get to The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Clarissa Broadbent. This is the second book in her Crowns of Nyaxia series. I read the first book of this series in May, and for whatever reason I've been putting off reading the second book, but I'm very excited to get to this. The first book was a 5-star read for me. If you want to see that video that I did in the wrap up talking about it, I'll link that up there, up in the cards or whatever. Loved it. I need to get to this because I also then need to get to the rest of Clarissa Broadbent's books because her writing is so good, and I like immediately fell in love with her first book of the series. Another fantasy book that I want to try to get to is going to be the Book of Azrael by Amber Nicole. I don't know a ton about what this is about. I was trying to read like the synopsis of it. It seems like it's enemies to lovers. It says it's like the ender of worlds versus the end of the versus the world ender, and I didn't quite understand what I was talking about, but I've seen this all over Instagram. Everybody is loving this, saying it's one of the best like romantic fantasy books that they've read. And the second book of, I guess this is gonna be a series maybe, like recently came out. So I don't know, I just keep seeing it everywhere and it looks really good, and just all of like the quotes that people have been posting just make me like more excited to read it. So I want to try that out. And then I want to get around to, I have this checked out in my Kindle Unlimited, Pucking Around by Emily Rath. I read the prequel novella to this in May, and I just never got around to reading this book because it's like 700 pages, and I was like, oh, am I ready for a 700-page book? But I keep hearing so many good things about it. It's a reverse harem, it's a hockey romance, and I love both of those. I've heard it's very steamy, which I love. And from reading the prequel novella, I liked the author's like writing style, so I think it'll go well like reading it. I just have to motivate myself to pick it up. So I want to get to that. There's also a few new releases that I want to get to, not that they're releasing in June, but books that like recently just released like last week in May. There was like 3 books that released all on the same day. So when I get to King by S.J. Tilley, this is the second book in her, I think it's the Alliance series. I just finished the first book of it. That will be going up in my end of May wrap up, which will probably be posted after I post this video. And I liked it, but not as much as I thought I was gonna like it, but I still want to continue on with this series because I did like King as a character, and I've been hearing good things about this book, so I want to read this one. Then I want to get to Liars Like Us by J.T. Geisinger. This is another like brand new release. This is a new book in some sort of series that she started, and she literally just announced the second book is coming out, I think in September, maybe. It's like morally gray. Is that what, I think that's might be what the series is called. I think this is enemies to lovers, and there's some sort of like arranged marriage. I've heard that this is just as steamy as the rest of J.T. Geisinger's books, and the banter is just as good as all of her other books too, which is mostly why I want to read it, because I love her characters and like the banter between them. So I want to try that out. Then A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley just recently released. I want to try this one out because this is supposed to be a dark fantasy romance of a Little Mermaid, Pirates of the Caribbean retelling, like mashup, and I'm very intrigued by that. Like, that just sounds amazing, and I want to try it out. I'm just a little hesitant to pick that up because every book that I've picked up from Karina Halley, like her recent releases, I've been very disappointed by. So she's not like one of those authors that I'm like cutting ties with Like, I still want to keep trying her out because she keeps having these ideas that I'm just like on board for, but then her execution for me keeps falling flat. So I'm hopeful that I will like this one. And it's supposed to be a standalone, so I'm hoping that will make it a little bit better, because some of her other series, like her Dracula retelling or her other vampire book, some of her other like fantasy books that she's been doing, my issue with them, I think, is that she says they're going to be a standalone, and then when she starts to write them, she realizes she wants to make it longer, so then she like drags it out into like 2 books or 3 books, when I would have preferred it to have been 1 book, and I think it would have been better. So I'm hopeful, because this, she has said, is supposed to be just a one-off, just a standalone, so I'm hoping it'll be good. Then, since June is Pride Month, and of course I like reading LGBTQ books like all year round, it's just I haven't read any in a while, so since it is Pride Month, I figured this was a good motivator to try to read some more again, because I've been missing reading some LGBTQ books. I've been really wanting to read some, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So I was like, this is gonna be my motivation to get back on with reading some of those. So I'm wanting to read a lot of male, and also I really want to read more sapphic romance, because I just feel like I don't read enough of those, and I don't find a ton of ones that I absolutely love. So I'm on the hunt for finding really good sapphic romances, but I also want to read male romance because I love them. So I would like to read Hidden Scars by Andy Jackson. This was going around Facebook and Instagram a lot, I think last year maybe, when it first came out. This is a hockey romance. I think it's enemies to lovers. I think there might be something with like hurt comfort or something in there, but I love this cover so much, so I've been dying to read this. Then I want to try to get to Barred Desires by Ashley James. I've heard really good things about this one. A few people that I talked to about books, this is one of their favorite authors, especially for male romances, that it just like gets you in the feels. I think this is a stepbrother romance, so it's very taboo. It sounds really good. Then I want to try to get to Wit by Cora Rose. I've also heard very good things about this author, that she's also a really good writer, author. This I think is Roommates, male romance. Then I'd like to try to do Soul Eater by Lily Mayne. This is a male like fantasy monster romance. I have had this like on multiple TBRs. I've had this on my TBR for a while, so I really need to try to get to it, because I've heard the romance between these 2 characters is so sweet, and I love that, so I need to try to read that. Then I want to try to get to a C.E. Ritchie book, because I read Don't You Dare, I think is what it was, last year during Pride, and absolutely loved it, and I haven't picked up another C.E. Ritchie book since, and I've been wanting to. So I either want to pick up this one, Head Above Water, or she also has Follow the River. I want to do one of those. I just can't, I'm not sure which. I think one of these is maybe a stepbrother romance. I think they're both enemies to lovers. I can't remember if one of these has something to do with like hockey or not. I know she's got another series that she started that is like Iced Out, I think is what it's called, that is hockey. I don't know. I just want to try to read more from her, because I loved Don't You Dare. Like, writing all of it, it was just like one of my favorite male romances, so I want to try to read more from her. And then as far as sapphic romances go, I want to try Triced Six Venom by Penelope Douglas. This was like everywhere when it first came out, and I just never got around to reading it. Everybody loves Penelope Douglas. I've read several books by her and like them, so I think this is a bully romance that's sapphic. So I want to try it and see if I really like it or not. And then I also have A Game of Hearts and Heists by Ruby Rowe. This, I think, is a fantasy romance that's sapphic. And it's like, I think they're like, one person is like an assassin maybe, and I don't remember what the other one is, but they're like, have like a heist kind of thing. I don't know. It just sounded really cool. And it's sapphic. And those are the only sapphic romances that I wrote down because I think those are the ones that I'm like most interested in. I have a lot of other ones that are like, have on my list of like sapphic romances to read. I don't know. I really want to try a bunch out. So those are the big ones that I want to try. And then I think the last book that I have is going to be American Queen, which I'm saving this for last because I have already read this. I just want to do a reread of this series and then to do a read of this series because I have not actually finished her Thorn Chapel series by Sierra Simone. I need to finish those, and I want to reread this one because she has a new series coming out this year. The first book, Salt Kiss, I think is coming out maybe August or September, I think, maybe sometime around there. And that series kind of loosely relates to this series. One of the characters in this new series like briefly shows up in this one. So I want to reread this so that I have like all the context, I guess, for going into that one. But I love this series. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I love this. This is a retelling of Camelot, basically. But it's a MMF romance, like a polyamorous throuple kind of romance between the president, the vice president, and the president's wife. So, and I love it so much. It's very steamy, very emotional. So I want to try to reread this and get myself prepared for her new release coming out. So the way we go, that is going to be all the books that I have as my June hopefuls. If you like this video, make sure to give a thumbs up for it. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below with some of the books that you're hoping to read in June, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Bye guys.